É, galera, cá estava eu já, encerradas as atividades de hoje, já tinha desligado tudo aqui, estava lá no meu sofá já descansando, quando abro o YouTube e vejo isso daqui, ó. The Last of Us Parte 1 Rebuilt for PS5, Features and Gameplay Trailer, ou seja, esse aqui é o canal da PlayStation, e eles fizeram esse trailer de 10 minutos e 40 com a reconstrução do The Last of Us Part 1 para o PlayStation 5, alguns dos recursos e o gameplay. Então eu vim aqui, já são quase meia-noite o horário que eu tô gravando, mas vim aqui para gravar isso para vocês. Vamos conferir? Vamos dar uma olhada no que te espera aqui, o que tem pra gente, né? Vamos lá dar uma olhada. Naughty Dog.
I'm coming.
Olha aí, já
More than 2 years ago, when we were finishing Last of Us Part 2, and we were working on those flashbacks within that scene for the first game, we got excited with the idea
capturado no
of
PlayStation 4
what if
Pro.
we made The Last of Us Part 1 to look as good, if not better, than what we have done with Last of Us Part 2, which we really pushed the boundaries of like what we could do from gameplay and a graphical standpoint, and felt like if we do that, we could actually come even closer to our original vision of what the first game would have been had we not been constrained by technology.
Reconstruído para o PlayStation 5.
The original creative vision of The Last of Us, I think in a lot of ways was larger
Diretor do
than what
jogo.
the PlayStation 3 was capable of.
Então, agora eu fiquei intrigado aqui. O Neil Druckmann não era o diretor, ele virou agora co-presidente da Naughty Dog, é isso?
4K.
Tô enganado? Coloquem nos comentários.
60 frames. Help us to reimagine The Last of Us.
Ah, olha que bacana, cara.
It gave us opportunities to rebuild our characters at the highest fidelity.
Pô, tem uma mudança enorme mesmo, né?
Detail, I mean down to the irises and the pupil depth. You know, you fall into the eyes of the characters. Aside from that, the facial animation is just way more believable. Like all the nuances, all the little subtle reactions, glances.
Nossa, olha que da
glares,
hora.
right? Like you get all of it almost closer to sort of the original performances.
So no matter what, you stick to me like glue. Like glue. Like glue. Got it. Good. Good.
We are able now to not only just have the highest fidelity characters in the cutscene, but also in gameplay. It's the same character, so now we can do these seamless transitions in and out. Every part of the game has benefited from seamless transitions and emotional scripting.
Pretty good, huh?
Our stories happen in gameplay. On a
Eles
stick.
mudaram bastante a sombra do jogo, né?
All this stuff is designed to keep you constantly in this world.
Riley, come here. Now you got this, go.
One of the things that the PlayStation 5 is really enabling is that we're able to have a density of physics objects in a scene that we could never do before. Like, this has always been the dream, is to have this number of bumpables, chippables, breakables, destructible objects in a scene. It just makes the world feel rich, makes it feel lived in. Materials can have the properties that you'd expect. The turret truck in Pittsburgh.
Tá em inglês, pessoal, porque eu tô assistindo a PlayStation
The concrete,
dos Estados Unidos,
sending
tá?
objects flying left and right.
Deixa eu ver se tem...
Break. Like there's fear. There's a real fear that it invokes.
And it's giving us a much more dynamic range of gameplay to play with.
A legenda é...
Our AI tech has just
in English.
increased incredibly. What we were building the basis off of was The Last of Us Part 2's AI. And it has sophisticated systems for things like the fundamental knowledge model of how these NPCs perceive and understand what the player is much more sophisticated.
Now, how the enemies are communicating with each other, how they're chasing you, how they're flanking you, how intense that fight feels. It's so much more rewarding coming out of it from the other side.
Ah, eles estão dizendo que eles mudaram também a forma como os NPCs se comportam durante o jogo.
The other big AI
Então a forma como eles cercam a gente, como eles tentam pegar a gente, mudou.
Has this very sophisticated understanding of like, okay, this is where the enemies can see their exposure. We not only have exposure, we have future exposure. So buddies can know, okay, that enemy is walking forward and they're about to round this corner. So in 3 seconds, that corner is going to be exposed. So I'd better move now to avoid this enemy seeing me. This really lets the buddies make very complex decisions and maintain that feeling of stealth much more believably.
Tá, estão contando também sobre a parte do stealth, que como agora os inimigos eles conseguem nos perceber no ambiente.
Basically using logic that tries to match the desired movement to a bucket of hundreds of animations. A mocapped actor has gone in and run this whole gauntlet of movements to get a really full set of all the different ways a person can move. And then it's basically every frame trying to find the best matching animation that fits the path of where the character is going to go. And this motion model just gives this really seamless sense of transition. The player's movement is just a lot
Cara, tá bem mais bonito mesmo, hein?
Smooth, organic movement through the space.
First, we just had to build that core experience. And then beyond that, we wanted to add several features that fans have been asking for. For example, we now have a permadeath mode. Along that, we've added a brand new speedrun mode, so players can time themselves. There's a whole community of gamers that just want to see how fast they can play through this game. Beyond that, we added a bunch more of unlockables. So
Peraí, eles adicionaram algumas coisas aqui. Deixa eu dar uma olhada nisso aqui.
Fast they can play through this game. Beyond that, we added a bunch more of. For example, we now have a permadeath mode.
Ah, agora tem uma... Eles adicionaram também modelos de renderização adicionais. Modos de renderização, né?
For example, we now have a permadeath mode.
Agora tem um modo de morte permanente. Vamos ver aqui, olha lá. Permadeath failed.
We've added a brand new speedrun mode, so...
E eles também colocaram agora um módulo de speedrun.
Players can time themselves. There's a whole community of gamers that just want to see how fast they can play through this game. Beyond that, we added a bunch more of unlockables. So there's all these different outfits for Ellie and Joel that people can unlock.
Adicionaram mais modelos de roupagem também.
Award-winning accessibility features.
Caramba, os caras realmente refizeram o jogo, hein?
Option that we offer, that's a barrier removed for someone.
As she surveys the apartment, her eyes wander to Joel. She steps past the couch. He wears the wristwatch Sarah gifted him, which now has a cracked face.
To my knowledge, this is the first PlayStation game that has audio description built into the game, built into the cinematics.
Now it's nighttime. Joel stirs in his sleep.
And that's really the way we've tried to push the frontier of accessibility on this game.
Caramba, ficou muito bom, cara.
So much of the identity of The Last of Us is the world.
Tá falando sobre a identificação de The Last of Us é o mundo, né?
Completely the art direction. You know, everything from these expansive vistas.
Caraca, mano, olha isso aqui.
Thing from these expansive vistas that the art direction, you know, everything.
Olha só que diferença que vai dar nessa parte aqui do céu. Eles acrescentaram montanhas ali, foi isso? Ficou bem mais montanhoso. Diminuíram um pouco a parte da mata ali pra frente, né?
Completely the art direction, you know, everything from.
Olha lá. Antes eles fizeram mais, era um ambiente com mais floresta. Agora eles colocaram algo mais montanhoso. Olha só, mais montanhas. E a grama aqui, ó, ficou bem legal, o gramado aqui mais próximo. Muito bom.
Vistas that not only are they beautiful, but you feel the environments. You feel the environments in a much more visceral way. The rooftops overlooking the Capitol building, for example, like just the breath of fresh air when you go up there and you just like, you feel that sort of release in tension. And then, you know, to juxtapose that down in the tunnels in Wilds, and you get that dank, flooded tunnel feel, that humidity, you can actually feel it. All these environments are just completely reimagined.
Nossa,
Now we got
caramba.
our engine on the PS5.
Deixa eu ver isso daqui.
Environments are just
Ó, é bem aqui, nós podemos ver que a visibilidade não é muito boa, né? Então tem essa névoa que atrapalha um pouco a visibilidade. Isso no PlayStation 4 Pro. Aí, quando vem a parte do PlayStation 5,
completely
ó, é todo refeito, nós conseguimos ganhar bem mais visibilidade, iluminação, sombras estão bem mais reais, bem construídas, e senso de profundidade também melhorou, e a quantidade de elementos dentro da cena.
reimagined.
Muito bom.
Now we got our engine on the PS5, those haptics, the 3D audio, the fast loading. It really creates a much more immersive, and because of that, much more emotional experience.
One of the things I absolutely love with the 3D audio in The Last of Us Part 1 is being able to hear an enemy before they sneak up on you. And trying to do a stalker fight with the 3D audio is just so much fun. You're hearing them skitter around in a different room, and you're
Áudio em
hearing them
3D.
trying to get it behind you. Having that two-part reaction of like hearing, turning, seeing, reacting, it just really heightens that sense of just being grounded. You are in this character, you are in this world. Now, with the PlayStation 5, the amount of control that developers have over the DualSense, it's really, really cool. All the guns in the game have a variable amount of resistance on the triggers when you aim them. The way it works with the bow is that at the very beginning, when they're starting to draw the bow, there's a little bit of
Eles
resistance.
fizeram uma adaptação também aos controles do PlayStation 5.
The amount of resistance is increasing. And then when you release the bow, you're also getting that resistance going out of the trigger. When you are aiming and firing the shotgun, you're going to get a haptic vibration on the shot. And then what I think is one of the ways that the DualSense really advances things is you're going to get a haptic vibration on the pump of the shotgun. And what's much more sophisticated about that on the DualSense is that in effect has a little like speaker in it. And it's playing an audio file that comes through in the vibrations. And those two beats is what you're going to feel on the controller.
This looks like a good spot.
This also ties in
Vamos ver se eles vão fazer a...
bench animations.
Olha só, eles mudaram igual do
Or screwing
Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2, da The Last of Us 2.
moment where he's like jamming that on, you're gonna get that haptic feedback on that. We have, haptics all across the board, for all the moments you kind of expect, for clambering, jumping, landing, meleeing, getting melee, like all those kind of high intensity moments we have represented in the haptics. What I personally absolutely adore is the way we can enhance the really like quiet, subtle moments of gameplay. So it's like when Joel goes in to pet the giraffe, getting that little light touch on the haptics as he's petting the giraffe. To me, that's the essence of The Last of Us.
sensação, né?
It's the high
Sentido
tension
do
moments,
tato.
the low tension moments. It's all of it feeling grounded. You're feeling immersed in this world. It's all about bringing you along with that story in as many ways as we can. And that's what the new technology on the PlayStation 5 is allowing.
Então, praticamente, eles querem utilizar os recursos do PlayStation 5 para uma imersão maior.
Of playing as Joel and Ellie on this journey, then to take that experience and really honor it and keep the authenticity of it, but elevate it in every way possible, whether it's pipeline, whether it's art direction, whether it's a technology, everything that allows us to make that experience better. Not different, extremely better. That's why, to me, this is the definitive way to play The Last of Us.
Caraca, hein? Ah lá. Dia... Qual é a data? Dia 2 de setembro, é isso? É isso aí. 2 de setembro, então, para o PlayStation 5. Também em desenvolvimento para PC. Olha só. Caramba, mano, vai sair para PC também, hein? E aí, galera, o que vocês acharam? Mesmo jogo, mesma história, O The Last of Us ele já teve remasterizado para o PlayStation 4, se eu não me engano, teve só para o PlayStation 4? Acho que é isso mesmo, PlayStation 4, e agora vai sair para o PlayStation 5 reconstruído, utilizando todos os recursos do PlayStation 5, e parece que vai ficar bom. Eu acredito que apesar de ser novamente a mesma história, não vai mudar nada, mas muita gente vai querer jogar novamente. E essa informação, pelo menos eu não me lembro de cabeça, mas para PC me parece ser novidade isso também. Deixa aqui nos comentários se vocês já sabiam de algo sobre isso. Enfim, esse foi o vídeo, espero que vocês tenham gostado. Gostei de ver a proposta aqui, né, da Naughty Dog, eles falando sobre o jogo, tudo que eles mudaram no jogo, e pelo menos eu não tenho agora aqui uma memória afetiva, né? Não tenho uma memória vívida da experiência que eu tive no PlayStation 4 jogando, porque eu joguei o The Last of Us remasterizado, tem até gameplay aqui no canal, joguei aqui no PlayStation 4 Pro, mas então eu não consigo ter essa diferença de gráfica do que eles apresentaram aqui, mas se é da forma como eles apresentaram, a diferença é brutal e eu achei muito, muito bom. Enfim, espero que vocês tenham gostado, então não deixe de curtir, comenta aqui embaixo o que vocês acharam, quero saber a opinião de vocês, se é novo por aqui se inscreve e vamos até o próximo vídeo, pessoal, valeu, falou!